Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the fundamental unit of life, cell. All living organisms are made up of cells, and thus, cells are the building blocks of all the living organisms. All the processes that are required to sustain life, like respiration, energy generation, digestion, etc., are performed in the cell. Therefore, cells are defined as the basic structural and functional unit of life. Well, one thing. Cells are extremely small and they can be viewed only through microscopes like light or compound microscope. Compound and light microscopes are almost the same, and they look somewhat like this. While observing anything under a microscope, we should first see it in the lower power followed by the high-powered lens. The cells were observed for the first time by Robert Hooke in 1665. He observed the dead cells present in the cork of a tree through a self-designed primitive microscope. Here, primitive microscope means the old kind of microscope, and cork is the outermost layer, present on the bark of the tree. The cork cells that Robert Hooke observed looked like this. Robert Hooke coined the term cell. In Latin, cell means a little room. After Hooke, Anton van Leeuwenhoek discovered free-living cells in pondwater in 1674, then Robert Brown in 1831 discovered nucleus, then Purkinje in 1839 coined the term protoplasm. After them, cell theory was present by Schleiden in 1838, Schwann in 1839, and Rudolf Virchow in 1855. In 1940, with the help of improved electron microscope, every single details of cell were visible. The types of organisms are unicellular, that have only one cell. Example, amoeba, paramecium, bacteria, etc. And multicellular, that have more than one cell. Example, birds, animals, humans, insects, etc. Fat cell, nerve cell, red blood cells, sperm, etc. These cells take up different shapes and sizes in order to perform their functions efficiently. These cells are made up of cell organelles and components. The components of cells are nucleus, cytoplasm, and cell membrane. Cell membrane is the outermost covering of an animal cell. It is made up of lipids, fats, and proteins. Cell membrane is a semi-permeable membrane, which allows only specific particles to move in and outside the cell, like water, oxygen, etc. The movement of water particles through such a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. In this, water moves from a region of higher water concentration to a lower one. Types of solutions based on water concentration are hypotonic solution, isotonic solution, and hypertonic solution. After cell membrane, also called plasma membrane, plant cells also have an extra covering called cell wall. Cell wall is a rigid layer, generally made up of cellulose, which protects the plant cell from damage. When a plant cell contracts in a hypertonic solution, the cell wall remains fixed and rigid and the cytoplasm inside it contracts. This process is known as plasmolysis. Next is cytoplasm. It is a jelly-like viscous layer that is present in the whole cell as a base layer. All the other cell organelles can be found floating on it. It is living in nature and almost every chemical reaction take place on it. And finally, the nucleus. It is the brain of the cell with double layer protection from nuclear membrane. It also have nucleoplasm. It has a dense structure in middle called nucleolus, which contains the DNA of the cell. It also produces ribosomes which help in protein synthesis. Nucleolus contains thread-like structures called chromatin. Chromatin contains DNA. During cell division, chromatin condenses to form H-shaped structures called chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of DNA and proteins. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. It is made up of genes, and it is the reason why we all have different physical properties. Now the next topic is cell organelles. There are different types of cell organelles that perform different functions like
endoplasmic reticulum.
As you can see in the previous diagram of endoplasmic reticulum, it can be observed that it is near the nucleus. Main function of endoplasmic reticulum is to produce and transport the proteins. Its tracts are also used for some chemical reactions to take place. It is divided into rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. RER, as the name suggests, has a rough texture due to the presence of ribosomes on it. Its main function is protein production and synthesis. SER has a smooth texture due to the absence of ribosomes on it. Its main function is lipids, that is fat synthesis and toxins elimination. Now come the Golgi apparatus, also called Golgi complex, discovered by Camillo Golgi. Main function of Golgi apparatus is packaging and modifying the proteins produced by ER. Golgi apparatus was discovered in 1898 by Camillo Golgi. It is also associated with formation of lysosomes. Now come my favorite, mitochondria. Main function of mitochondria is energy generation through cellular respiration. It produces energy in the form of ATP molecules. ATP, adenosine triphosphate. After nucleus, it's only the mitochondria which has its own DNA.